Hey there. This is Lynn, and this is week 6 report out of Lynn's weight loss journey. If you've been along the ride with me and you've listened to the first 6 episodes already, awesome. If you're new to this, please go back and listen to episode 0. It talks about the context of this and why it's important. I'm just going to assume that you've been along the journey with me and you've heard these previous episodes and you're ready to rock and roll with me. So here's the report out for today. We're going to talk about what happened in week 6, May 29 to June 3. So that included the second half of Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend. And I'm going to tell you about those 13 damn gummy bears. Going to tell you about those. And then I'm going to talk about how integrating the right kind of bread at the right time added calories, but made it so this whole eating at a calorie deficit thing was more doable for me. So this has been an interesting aha for me because I've been very much like trying to eat gluten-free and trying to do, what everybody else is doing. And then I really start digging in more and more to what's actually the right thing to do, what's actually healthy for me, what's sustainable long-term. So that's been interesting. And then I'm going to tell you what happened on the scale because of it. So let's dive right in. At the end of last week, I talked a little bit about that hiking trip that I did with a dear friend of mine. And she and I had a great time. And I was super excited that I had gone further than I've gone in years. So we did 5 miles. 1,000-foot elevation gain. So it was an up and back. So it was, just under 500 feet per mile that we were going up. This was a big ass hike for me. And we had a great time. We got back. But here's what happened. I was able to do that 5-mile hike with Hills, come home, clean my house, get ready for the next week. I didn't feel like I needed to overeat. And at the end of the day, I was tired and I went straight to bed and I got a really awesome night's sleep. So that was pretty exciting. And I think a piece of that is the fact that I am at that time was 5 full weeks into really watching my nutrition, really watching what I'm doing, hydrating, all those good pieces. But then holy moly, I was sore for 4 days. You talk about DOMS, delayed onset of muscle soreness. That didn't come till about 2 days later for me. And then my calves were so sore for days and days and days. But anyhow, it was an exciting thing to be able to do that. I did not increase my calories of what I ate to match the exercise I did. And I knew I was deliberately pushing that window of 5 miles. If you imagine 5 miles of hiking, a mile translates roughly into about 100 calories. So in theory, if I was maintaining my weight, not trying to lose weight, I could have said, okay, I'll add 500 calories more because I did that exercise. I mean, there's all kinds of monkey math we can do here. But alas, I didn't. And I was totally fine. So that was cool. Alrighty. Now we're going right into TMI here. And I got to tell you folks that are listening to the podcast, for the first time in forever, I decided that I was going to put this podcast recorded live on Facebook. So while I'm recording this is actually live on my personal Facebook page. So if you want to see it, you'll have to send a friend request to me there because I'm not making it public. And now we're going to talk about lady bits. That's right. We're talking, but oh well, who cares? So if you do not like TMI, this is the time to fast forward again for a couple of minutes. And hopefully I'll only talk about this for a couple of minutes. So at the end of last week, we talked about me being probably perimenopause, maybe partly into menopause. At the end of last week, I was like, okay, I'm due for my period, but I don't know. I'm 50. This is kind of whacked out. Who knows? Last time I was 3 weeks late. Maybe I'll be on time this time. Maybe I'll be early. I don't know. And so then when I did the weigh-in at the end of last week, I had lost less than I had in previous weeks. And so then I was left wondering, okay, did I lose less last week because I, am going to start my period soon. And so I usually gain a few pounds then. Or did I lose less last week because I ate some salty foods? Or did I lose less last week because I went hiking with my friend and there's an inflammatory response when you go hiking with your friend? And then I had to pause and say, okay, well, it just is what it is. This is where the tracking is magic and so important. Because so many times it's easy to say, I don't want to track. I just want to make it small adjustments. And that is a strategy that people can do, that you can do. You can make small adjustments without tracking. But when you do track, you can have weird things like a period come up or eating salty or hiking, and you can see the scale not do what you think it should do. And you actually have that tangible evidence of what were the actual calories coming in, how well did you track to your macros. If you're wondering what macros are, go back and listen to the episode on macros. And then you can know, okay, just keep trusting the process. I'm doing it, keep trusting the process. And so that's what I did there is, I weighed in, I had only lost 0.6 pounds, which you know what? I'll take it. But then the very next day, I stepped on the scale and I was 3 pounds heavier. This is where we have to smash the scale when we're realizing, oh gosh, I lost a half a pound and then the next day I weighed 3 pounds more. This is where this obsession with the scale becomes unhealthy. And this is where without that knowledge of sodium, inflammation, stress, maybe you're lactose intolerant and you ate a bunch of dairy. I mean, all kinds of things. That scale will go root, up and down, up and down, up and down. This is where I always say 6-week window. You always got to be looking at a minimum of a 6-week window before you get too excited or too depressed about anything. After 6 weeks, we can have some confidence that what we're doing is staying the course. And at the end here, this is week 6 episode. So at the end of this, you're going to see the actual numbers on the scale and what happened at the end of my 6-week window. So, okay. So with that, when the scale for me jumped 3 pounds from Sunday to Monday, I knew exactly that what I was doing was fine. I was not going to go into a 24-hour intermittent fast. In fact, I'm not doing that. I'm not using intermittent fasting or fasting as a part of this because that does not sound like a happy life for me. And it's not feeding my body the nutrients it needs. So it's just not the way I'm going. I have to be able to, have my cake and my wine now and then and my, all that. It's got to be, I got to do this. I'm going for the Holy Grail, you guys. I'm going for the Holy Grail of figuring out how to make this actually work for me long term, which is the hardest way short term to do it, easiest way long term. So let me recap then. Tracking becomes important because when you track your food, when you track your weight, you can look and you're honest about it. When I am, let's make this about me because this is about me, right? When I'm honest about what I'm actually eating and I'm logging everything, I'm not skimming. When I'm honest about what that weight is on the scale, then after the full month or the 6 weeks, if I'm not seeing the progress I want to see, then I've actually got the correct data I need to work with it and figure out what adjustments do I need. Nobody should ever go into a weight loss where their calories are so low that they're ending up nutritionally deficient. This is different if you're working with bariatrics. That's a whole different thing. We're just talking about you're doing this on your own. You're taking control of your health. You're in a spot where you can do this. Nobody should ever get those calories so low that's not safe. And so that's part partly where tracking is. If you're still seeing issues, even when the calories are low, then we're like, okay, let's get you into the doctor. Let's figure out what's going on. Let's figure out if something else is going on, because that could be a very real thing. In my case, I already got that clean bill of health. I know I don't have anything else going on, at least today. Let's keep it that way. Knock on wood. Yeah. So, but without the tracking, I would never really know. And here's the thing about tracking too, is it is so easy. If you don't track, it is so easy to lose track and realize, oh, maybe I'm eating way more than I thought I was. Like, what was it, last week when I was hanging out with my girlfriends, had a couple glasses of wine, had a couple bits of cheese, had a little bit of nuts, put it all in, 900 calories. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that honest tracking really, really feeds. Wednesday came. 2.5 days after my hike, still had not upped my calories after that hike, and was still teaching my classes. By 3 p.m. Wednesday, and here's the thing, I am not allowing myself to get hungry. I am not allowing myself to get and stay hungry, because like I said, going for that holy grail, this has got to be sustainable. So if I'm legit hungry, I'm going to eat. And so Wednesday came, I was tired. I was dogging it a little bit. I wasn't eating extra for the exercise. And Wednesday by 3 p.m., I had eaten breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dinner snack. All of it. And so at 3 p.m., my brain is thinking, oh my gosh, hang on. I'm following the process. I'm doing the protein. I'm doing my fiber. I'm getting the fats in. It's 3 p.m. I just ate all my food. I am most definitely going to be miserable around dinner. I'm going to be starving. So I started brainstorming around what could I do? What could I eat? All of that. Here's what happened that really surprised me. First of all, for me, one thing that really helps is I struggle with the stress eating and the bored eating, right? If I get stressed out, totally stressed out, sometimes I'm like, I don't care. I need the carbs. Sometimes that's legit. No shame in that. I also struggle sometimes with bored eating because, currently I'm almost an empty nester, but I spend a lot of time at home alone. And if I have an afternoon or an evening with not as much to do, there's this glorious kitchen of all these things. That's why I have to keep my kitchen safe. So I was wondering if I would do another dinner later, which if I was hungry, I would. I had chosen I would do that. Or what would happen? So what actually ended up happening was from 3 to 7 p.m., I was busy. I was working. I think I worked till 6. And then I think at 6, I went and ran some errands, not grocery related errands, because don't go to the grocery store hungry. I knew that about myself. Get home at 7 p.m. I had already had a snack of a bowl of just these glorious, beautiful strawberries because they're in season here. I knew in my head when I sat down to eat the strawberries, I knew that was not going to be enough and I was going to need more and I was going to eat another whole dinner. I knew it. I totally knew it. Guess what happened? I sat down. I had a book I was reading, an old school book, like an actual book with papers that you have to turn the pages. Don't even know what I'm called. They're called pages of paper in a book. I was actually reading old school, had my strawberry snack, ate the strawberries, and then I was totally fine, completely fine. I contributed to the carbs. My body wanted and needed the carbs. I contributed to the fiber because berries are one of the better ones to do. Berries, your strawberries, your raspberries, your blueberries, anything that says berry at the end of it has a high fiber content, high nutritional content. They actually are more satiating. I was totally fine. And that was exciting. That was just, I've had more and more of these evenings where I front load, I eat that good breakfast, but I make sure it's good in the terms of that high protein, high fiber. Eat that good lunch. So when dinner comes, it just doesn't seem like it's a, oh my gosh, I'm so starving and now I'm eating all night kind of thing. It's been really cool. Then one goodness compounded on top of the other goodness became a bit of a spiral up because I did that Wednesday. I stayed the course. I was fine. If I was actually still hungry, I would have eaten another dinner. I would have, but I was fine. And in the evening, I my goal isn't to feel totally stuffed, of course, in the evening, but I want to feel fine. And that's how do you describe that? So if a person is on that yo-yo of they're still eating a lot of sugars, a lot of highly refined processed, that hangry feeling, that like, oh my gosh, I got to eat. That is so real, so compelling. And there's just like, our brains cannot compete with that. I am now 6 weeks into keeping that blood sugar level, keeping that food where it needs to be so that I'm not getting the hangry thing. And so at night, even if I feel like maybe I could eat, my body isn't revolting and my insulin levels aren't going crazy, or my blood sugar levels are not going crazy to tell me like, oh, you got to eat. So here's the spiral up that was super exciting and a great mental boost that I needed. That was Wednesday night. Thursday morning, I get up, I step on the scale, and I know this isn't the report out. But for the first time in 2.5 years, I see the number 6. Super exciting because it's always been 170 something, 180 something. And for the first time in the 2 years, I see the number 6. Now I know it was 169. That's right. I'd never been so excited about 69 in my life. Sorry. Yeah, I said it. Okay. I try to be wholesome, but okay. I was just so excited about that 69. I tell you, it was just because it meant something to me. And I know it is just a number on the scale. And I know we're trying to not do numbers on the scale. And we don't define our worth by numbers on the scale. But to see that, did it feel good? Absolutely. I did, though, notice that part of the contributing factor for that, well, here's what happened. By Thursday morning, I was sluggish. I was feeling a little lethargic. I had napped the 2 days before, thinking like, oh, it was just a big hike. I'm just tired. But by Thursday, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still taking a nap every afternoon for like 3 days in a row. So I went back, went back into my tracking again and realized I had let my carbs get too low, down to where you could actually say maybe I had been keto for a few days. And if you're not sure what keto is, don't worry about that. But the carbs had gotten too low for too many days. And I had lost track of that because I'm mostly tracking protein, fat, fiber, making sure I get enough of that and letting carbs do whatever. But when I realized my carbs were a little bit too low for too many days, I was like, that's why I'm having trouble focusing. That's why I feel sluggish. I have to add these carbs back in. So that's when I decided I need to add a little bit more carbs into my day. And that's where I added that bread in. So the morning I had made this egg bake, this really cool egg dish. I was like, I'm going to make this big old egg dish. I'm going to eat a slice of it every morning. The macros were pretty well balanced except for the carbs. And after doing that for several days, I was essentially eating a 0 carb breakfast, but high protein and the correct amount of fats. That was making me sluggish. So the next couple days, I ate that same egg bake, added a piece of toast in there. That was my, Dave's 21 seed toast. I'm not sponsored or paid by them. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Added that toast in there that had real fiber in it, real carbs in it. And then the next day or two, I had some dinners with some pasta in it because it's just what I love. And I started feeling so much better. My energy went way up, way too high. So that was my hypothesis there, is even though I'm getting the protein, the fat, and the fiber dialed in really well, we have to continue to pay attention to the carbs and not let them get too low. Also, otherwise your brain will just start, wigging out and you'll have no energy and you'll sit in front of the computer, time to do your job. And you're like, I'm not feeling it. So that's super, super important there. This is also why not going too low on calories becomes really important, because if you go too low on calories, you physically can't get those macros in that you need. If the calories are too low, something suffers. So Friday, after eating the carbs, I woke up, my brain mojo was back. I could think, I was working like a queen. I had done that balanced breakfast with the toast, and I was just like, boom, 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 getting stuff done, which was so awesome. Okay, let's talk about the concept of mindless eating and the double arrow, because it happened to me. Part of the reason I'm doing this now, you guys know, I'm at a space in my life where I control what goes into my kitchen more than I ever have before. I know a lot of you don't have that. It does make it so much harder when you don't have control of what's in your kitchen. If your kitchen is not what I call food safe, and the floor of how far you can fall down with regards to nutrition in your kitchen is really, really low, that's a lot harder. Mine's been really great. All right. My son, my beloved son, my one and only beloved son. I went into my son's room to help him with something on his computer Friday. I was feeling pretty confident, feeling good. It's Friday. I've been doing great calorie-wise. I sit down at his desk to help him with something, and I look over to the left of his keyboard. I mean, he's a grown man. He's a young adult man. And I look over on his desk is a bag of gummy bears. A bag of gummy bears. One of my personal favorite. Lots of childhood memories. Gummy bears. I'd been doing really well, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to eat me some gummy bears, right? It's all about balance. It's all about moderation. It's all about living a life, right? So I pick up that bag of gummy bears and I look at it and it says, okay, 13 gummy bears is 100 calories. All right, I'm going to do it. So I get out, I literally count 13 gummy bears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put them on his desk, take the rest of the bag, set it over there. And I'm like, I'm going to enjoy my 13 gummy bears while I help my son with this thing at his desk. I'm working away, helping him. 3 minutes later, all 13 gummy bears are gone, and I have no idea how they ended in my stomach. I'm like, damn it. I didn't even enjoy them. I was just like, I don't know what I was doing. They were just gone. I just like mindlessly woofed them down. Now, I could have had a big bowl of beautiful strawberries, like a big bowl of beautiful strawberries for the same as those 13 little gummy bears. My brain started thinking about all the different things that I could have done instead of that. And this is where the double arrow comes in that you have to watch out for. And you guys know I'm really, really open about, the fact that I'm still doing therapy with the therapist. I probably will for the rest of my life. It's fabulous. One of the things she was talking about, yep, I'm one of those people. My therapist said, one of the things she was talking to me about, not related to 13 gummy bears, it was something else. She said, watch out for the double arrow. Watch out for the double arrow. So the first arrow is, I ate the junk food. Okay, not a big deal. Who cares? I chose to. I liked it. I'm living this life of sustainability. The second arrow is if I beat myself up over it. The third arrow is if I beat myself up over beating myself up over it. So the moral of the story is, when I choose to do something like eat the gummy bears, I need to not just eat it. I need to eat it and own it and enjoy it. And if I accidentally wolfed them down before I even realized what happened, I need to just let it float away and let it go. And so it was a great lesson for me, just sitting there, seeing those gummy bears disappear, knowing they were in my stomach and not knowing how they got there. I mean, of course, I knew how they got there. I ate them. Duh. But knowing that and being able to just say, okay, I'm not going to beat myself up over this. In the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. So this is where tracking becomes important, because like I did that one day, I ate fast food for 3 days, 3 times in 1 week. I can see what happens. I can also track these gummy bears, and I know, seriously, not a big deal. In fact, totally fine. In fact, part of life. I want to be able to do this. So there we go. Mind the second arrow, mind the third arrow. Alrighty. I also had one incident that happened on Friday night where I got really angry, like rage angry. And I don't, for me, rage angry, I stuff my emotions. That's part of my work I'm doing. So if I get really angry, I just get quiet and I look maybe very zen, but there's like a fire breathing dragon inside of me. So I had something happen Friday that was hurtful, and it has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with my kid, but it just made me just so angry. And I knew I needed to work through it. And I wish I could tell you more detail about it. I'm like pausing and hesitating here, but I'm not gonna. But part of what helped me was I removed myself from the situation that was causing me to be frustrated and anger, and I was able to remove myself from that situation. That's a new behavior for me. I am very much a long-suffering person, and you can put me in any high-pressure situation, and I can stay poised, I can stay calm no matter freaking what. I can rise above, but I'm learning in my old age of 50, I'm learning I don't necessarily have to rise above all the time. I don't have to always be long suffering. I can choose to just remove myself from a situation. So I did. So that really helped, because I think if I had stayed in that situation, it would have caused even more stress and more cortisol to build in my body, and it would have made stress eating nearly impossible to not do. Like that double negative. Yeah. But instead, I moved myself from it. I was proud of myself for removing myself from it. I got home. I got one of my club sodas, one of my flavored Pellegrinos, sat down, pulled out a book that's like a how-to help book to help me process it, video chatted with a friend, and that was a huge piece. So that's that piece of when life stresses you out, when life stresses me out, having the coping skills to deal with my stress that don't revolve around food has been a big part of the work that I've had to do. Yeah. Okay. What were our numbers? Let's take a look at our numbers here. This is the part, my number geeks, my folks. I'll tell you exactly what the numbers were. Please know these are my numbers, not your numbers. And this is only a 1 week snapshot. So, we want to look at that 6 week window. So, okay, here we go. The first thing. Okay, here we go. Calories. I averaged 1,299 calories a day. Average. That, again, is low. Protein, daily average, 110 grams of protein a day. That is considered high protein diet, not extremely high protein. Fat grams, my goal is 50. I'm averaged 49. That's fantastic. Fiber, there's This is where the carbs come in. Fiber, my goal was 19 to 20 grams a day. I averaged 20 grams a day. I am pretty darn proud of what I did because I'm feeling more solid. I'm feeling confident in this. I'm feeling like it's doable because I am at that 6-week mark. Remember all this time, like 6 weeks. So let's look at 6 weeks. At the start of this week, I was 170.8 pounds. At the end of the week, I was at 169 pounds. Yep, I got in at that 69. My net loss for the week was 1.8 pounds. Total loss, 13 pounds since April 24th, which is a little over, 6 weeks, 13 pounds. I'm happy with that. I'm excited. I'm in the 60s. Finally, even though it's 69, I'm in the 60s. The 80s, I can say, are behind me. That's pretty cool. Now, here's my trick. Here's my thing. I have a history of being able to grit and self-discipline down 9 or 10 pounds and then regain. Grit and self-discipline, 9 or 10, and regain. I did that 4 times while I was sick, when my health was failing me, when I was under tremendous stress. I did it twice during COVID, got myself 9 or 10 pounds down, and then it went right back up. What I'm doing this time is I'm following what I've learned in my weight loss management certification, what I learned from a nutritionist, what I'm learning from, the science and the doctors, and what I'm doing by ignoring every single diet fad out there. Okay. I'm just looking at whole, healthy foods, no particular, not keto, not vegan, not vegetarian, not Mediterranean diet, not this, not gluten-free, not dairy-free, not nothing. Focusing on what is going to be sustainable for me. I think so. I made it down 13. I got a long way to go. I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling optimistic because I haven't let myself get hungry. Because my mindset feels good and strong. And I'm also feeling optimistic because the next months in front of me, I become an empty nester. And so even though I will miss him, and I will be solo in my home. I'll be the only one in my home, but that means that's actually a supporting function for me because that means I get to take full responsibility for what's in my kitchen. Nothing is going to derail me except for me. So of course that's a little scary because I have to take full responsibility. I have no more excuses. It's all on me. My health is better. My attitude's better. My life is more just calm and relaxed and zen. And so now I gotta really own it, and I am owning it. And so I'm feeling super optimistic. So there we go. I am glad to announce that next week I have nothing remarkable going on. So I am going in a little arrogant and thinking that I should be able to totally rock next week. Now, the week after that is when I become an empty nester. And the week after that, I'm hanging out with some friends. The week after that, I go to Washington, D.C. with my son, and we're eating at restaurants the entire week. But next week is hopefully going to be pretty low drama. So there we have it. Alrighty, friends, if you would like me to support you in this journey for yourself, it would be my honor. We can dial in all these things, the calories, the protein, the fat, the fibers, the how do we do this? How do we eat? How the mindset piece. We can get you to that week 0. If you haven't listened to week 0 podcast yet, go back and listen to it. We can get you to your week 0 so you can also have some similar successes. So head on over to couchtoactive.com. Reach out to me. That's couchtoactive.com. Bye-bye now.